スタジオ3万
And it was the most joyous sight I've ever seen at a festival. It was just this beautiful, pristine, untouched porta toilet that I could just spend a good 10, 15 minutes, dealing with things.
Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of the Nerd OD podcast with your host, Reg.
And Dan, how's it hanging?
It is hanging to and fro, and I could tie it in a knot, I could tie it in a bow.
Wow, beautiful.
I get that funny feeling when I'm hanging from a ceiling, but I'll never be a sailor if my podcast hangs low.
That's true.
Hiya.
You mean hangs
right?
low in the iTunes charts?
Is that such a thing anymore?
I don't think so. I don't
does
think
iTunes still do it?
iTunes is not a thing, as I've found to my detriment today. I already gave you a very quick overview, but just to, I'm quite frustrated about multiple things today, so it might be a ranty Dan pod, but I've just been in the process of
That's the name of the title.
Ranty Dan. Been trying to transfer my Apple Music, as it now is called, not iTunes library, from one hard disk to another one. And then I realized that I couldn't do it how I used to because the iTunes library is not a thing anymore. It's now an Apple Music library, but I didn't realize that. So then I opened up the old iTunes library to be like, right, now it'll look in the right place. And not half my stuff, but everything since like April when I updated my Mac is missing. So I fortunately still had it, but having to look through to find out what is there and what is not and work out what I put in, that's all gone. Plus my playlist count, like every song, I used to be able to have a good little reminisce of like, oh look, I've listened to that song 17 times. Oh, I've never listened to that. Oh, look at that, 140 times for Bar 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 by Crown Pop. But now I can't do that. Everything is just zero again, which maybe it's a good idea. Maybe sometimes it's good to just have a fresh start, right?
No, not when it comes to that. That was the only thing I really miss about having iTunes or like the iPod.
Yeah,
is the fact that when you'd actually go back and be like, oh yeah, and like, I've only listened to this a couple of times, and you're like, okay, that's 90 odd thousand. Yep, that's a lot.
Yep.
That's a lot. And like the Benic ladies were just like massively played. Each one had like 300-400, and then like the next ones would have 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently
Exactly.
I've got a very small taste in music.
Yeah, I go through phases of what I like. I know everyone was like, oh, that K-pop thing, that'll be a quick phase for Dan. But, here we are 7 years later. Yeah. And all my playlists have gone as well, which is frustrating because I even had all my festival playlists from many a moon ago.
Oh, the bygone era.
Yeah, back when we used to go to the V Fest, me and Reg would do two things. We would have tent rehearsal because the tent was so ridiculously huge that we had to remind ourselves how to put it up in advance. And we also used to sit there with my laptop and my iPod or his iPod, either one, making all the playlists ready to entertain the fields of tent people.
That was like
times.
It's so funny because whenever people talk about festivals and stuff, they're always like, "Oh, the highlight of the festival was going to see like X band play or this X artist play," and like always the highlights of the festivals for me, like 100% of the time, was what happened after the music finished and we went back to the tent.
Yeah,
it's just like the amount of neighbours that we had that come over and be like, "Are we all right to bring a beer?" I'm like, feel free, bring a beer, bring your mates. Let's just have a massive party.
Just the whole
and
point.
We just have like the inflatable tents just full steam ahead. It's just absolutely awesome. Like,
well, to be fair, it was my favourite day specifically was the day we arrived. Once we got through that horrible feeling of dragging everything that you own to the field for no apparent reason, like this massive tent and like 4 crates of beer, huge stereo, and one change of clothes because you've got to save space.
It was literally everyone else would take like a bag and you'd see them carry like 2 or 3 crates, and we had like proper like mini carts and all sorts that you'd end up having to like drag around. That's just full of beers and crates.
Why we had then so many great neighbours coming over and saying hello, because they saw that we had this entire amazing setup and were like, what, inflatable couches, wow, what a great idea. And they'd come and join us, and it was amazing. And that first day, as long as it was nice weather, which most of the time, for some reason, we were really lucky, and it was, that first day we would just sit there on the couches, music playing, cider in my hand. Oh, so good. I mean, like you say, the actual days at the festival were great, but I didn't quite have the same stamina as you. So a lot of the time we'd come back to the tent, and then you'd be right, yeah, come on, let's get the music going. And go, all right, I'm just gonna have a lie down for like 5-10 minutes because I'm a bit tired, and then I'll get up and join you, and then I would be fast asleep.
Yeah,
it'd be about an hour or two later, and I'd hear you and Pat or something knocking on the side of the tent room, going, Dan, come on, and I'd be just there, just ignore it, or give up. Give up.
There's literally only two things you never did at a festival. One is go to the toilet, and number two, sleep. Like,
well, I did both. I remember when I went to Leeds in particular, when we drove and we parked the car, and the car park was fairly close to the site, fortunately, but in the car park was a couple of toilets. And it's sort of after the first or second day, the toilets on the site, because Leeds and Reading don't put porta toilets on the campsites. They just dig a big hole, put a big piece of sort of wood thing with loads of holes in and some compartments to block you off, and that's your toilet. It's absolutely disgusting. So I didn't want to use that. And I sort of thought, you know what, let's just take a 10-minute walk to the car park and have a look, because no one's been in the car park for now 2 days, and I guarantee they've cleaned it. I got there, and it was the most joyous sight I've ever seen at a festival. It was just this beautiful, pristine, untouched porta toilet that I could just spend a good 10-15 minutes, dealing with things.
I'm pretty sure I remember. I think we might talk about this on the old G.pod, but I remember when I first started going to V-Fest, it must have been like V2001, V2002, when we went, and on the drive down, the bus used to take a different route, because you were in different fields in the same park, but different fields. And on the drive down, we clocked a pub, and we're like, that won't be that long to walk to. And when you eye up the prices of the beer and stuff at the festival, then you go, that pub won't be so bad. So we just took like half a crate with us and just walked to the pub on like the Sunday when we were running out of like everything. I'm like, we'll just go here, use the amenities if you need to use amenities, actually have like hot food, and have a beer while we do it, because there's no bands really on we want to watch until like X amount of time. And the walk to the pub took like just shy of 2 hours. It was not a short walk like we thought it was. And we're like, right, okay, let's do this. And we got there, and the guy literally took one look at us and was like, not today, mate, come back tomorrow. And I'm like, we've just walked 2 hours to get here. Can we at least just have a beer? And he was like, not today, lad, sorry. Because we were all dressed up in like the Dr. Zeus hat and like, just festival gear and stuff.
What did they think was going to happen?
I have no idea. But we ended up arguing for ages. And then he was like, you can sit outside and have a drink. And we're like, yeah, that's fine. Like, just let us do this. So we did that. Money. And then, Dave was like, right, okay, I'm going to time it right. So he's looking at the window, waited till the guy was literally like pouring a beer for someone else, and then just ran and locked himself in the male toilet, did what he needed to do, and then he came out with the bartender who was like, come on, Reg, we've got to go. It's like, I didn't even get to go. But yeah, so with that, and then obviously the year, which I know we have talked about, where we snuck into the RAF base, which was just awesome.
That was all before my time, but yeah, I've heard many a story of that RAF base.
We had the festivals were just so much fun. They were brilliant, but and I suppose that's going to be. I know they're still doing they start doing them now and stuff, but I think it'll be a very long while until that sort of stuff becomes normality again.
It's weird. There are some that are just have gone, yep, we're up and running, I don't know whether they've slightly reduced, the capacity of it, but which one is it? Download have announced they're doing like a 10,000 capacity festival, selling tickets to people who have bought tickets for 2022 first. It's on in like 3 weeks. It's like a really short notice thing, and it's part of a government trial. So they're just going to say, yeah, okay, let's test run these 10,000 people to see who gets COVID.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, which is, I mean, great. They did a similar thing in Liverpool. It's one of the first ones. In fact, it might have even been the first one they did, but they did a big festival style park gig. And yeah, I apparently like at really minimal. No one had to wear a mask. You were told don't wear a mask. They wanted you to take a test the day before, and they wanted to take a test 3 days afterwards. And in terms of the stats they got from it, apparently it was like minimal. It was like single digits, the amount of people who said that they had something.
Oh, wow.
We'll see. Yeah, and apparently we've had the first day in the UK that no one has died of COVID for a year and a bit.
Huzzah!
Huzzah. But, you know,
That's
it'll be back.
Times, so.
Is it? Let's hope so.
I'm sure it's all good now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like now they've reopened up the indoor bits at the zoo and stuff now as well.
Oh, so you can go on the boat now.
So yeah, we can go back on the boat now, which is ace. Because Oliver did it once, like a few months back, and then they were like, no, everything's sort of, we're closing down the indoor sections again because of this reason and that reason, COVID. Like, and ever since now, whenever you walk around, he's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, right, okay, let's wait and we'll see, and we'll go. And we went there, and obviously it was like they're not doing it now. Yeah. But we went there both days this weekend. We did Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, right. On bank holiday weekend, you're a brave man.
You know what?
I guess you booked, didn't you? The places are allowing people in, but you've got to book so they can.
Yeah. So if you're not a member, you have to book, and you get 2 different time slots. But if you're like a member, you can just turn up, and as long as it's not school holidays, you can turn up and just go in. So we're like, yeah. So we did it anyway. We checked and seeing if there was like availability for members and stuff to go in.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, sure, members, you can go in anytime you want, but you had football training on the Saturday. So we're like, you know what, we'll do it in the afternoon instead of going in the morning. We'll just do your morning, do your football training. We'll have a little play in the house. You can have a sleep, and then we'll go to the zoo. Because there's nothing worse than taking a really tired kid to a zoo.
Yeah, I envy kids. They can schedule in naps.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it, right?
Not fair.
So I was like, we'll do that then. And then literally we all got there on Saturday and we seen one animal. We ate ice cream, and then he played on the play park. And then on the Sunday we went and he ate ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
We seen 2 animals.
Oh, well, there you go. It's getting better. Double the animal sightings. Yeah,
and then we just played on the park and the sand pit. And it's like we just never actually went around the zoo. So it was like we went both days, spent about 6 hours in total in the zoo, and seen like 3 animals the entire weekend.
Fair enough.
It was a very fun time. And the best thing was so Ash was off on bank holiday Monday. So we're like, right, seeing this is off, and we like everywhere's now open again, we'll finally take him to Smith's Toy Superstore, and we'll let him like choose like a toy, and we're really excited about it. And on the day before, so the Sunday, we went to Tesco's, I think it was, and they've got it was Tesco's. They've got the Lego minifigs, in the green packet, the surprise ones.
Yeah, the blind bags.
He was just like, oh, I want that. I was like, right, okay, well, it's reduced to clear with the club card point, so it's like $2.50 or something like that for it. I was like, you can have one of them, and he loved it. Absolutely, was besotted with it. So it became then the thing like, okay, so you want a blind bag that's like, you think it's much cheaper than like, a Paw Patrol toy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we all love Lego, so that's fine. You can use it for all your sets and stuff. So, we'll do this. And we took him into Smith's, and I was like, mate, you're going to love the Lego selection in here. Like, you're going to freak. It's going to be like amazing. I was like, like, I don't know what you're saying to me, Dad. None of these words make sense, but okay. And then literally, we went to the pet shop first in Brommer, and then we went to Smith's, and I was like, "You ready? 3, 2, 1." And I just let go of him and let him run into Smith's, and he just went, "Wow." And went hunting round with a little leaflet in his hand, trying to find the minifigs. Was not asked about anything at all.
So he wanted the little bags. He doesn't want a huge, massive set.
Didn't want the Lego sets of any of the things.
Like, do you know what, Dad? I fancy that Roman Colosseum set, if that's okay. Yeah, sure.
Or like, I was like, oh, look at this Spiderman. Like I said, you get Spiderman, you get Sandman, and like this one's awesome. He gets a bike as well, and he was like pointing to this little riot police figure from the McBlind bag. He was like, this. I was like, right, okay. Smith's Toy Superstore didn't do them. And I was like, how can you not do them? Apparently they did Looney Tunes ones. So I was like, right, okay. So then we went to the Asda across the road. They didn't do them. I was like, oh no. And by the time we got home, it was like gone 5. So like all the shops were shutting because obviously it was bank holiday hours and stuff. I was like, oh no. But we managed to get one from the Tesco's by us, and unfortunately it wasn't the police one, but he still doesn't care. He's besotted with it, and now it gives him meaning to go to another shop. He's just like so excited by it. But we took him to, like I said, we took him to Smith's, and we took him out and stuff in Tesco, and we said, like, where do you want to go tomorrow? I was like, do you want to go back to Smith's? Do you want to go to Tesco? Or do you want to go to Asda? And he's like holding his fingers up, saying which one he wants to go to, and he just wants to go back to Tesco. Just loves Tesco. He's like, he would much prefer to go to Tesco than Smith's Toy Superstore.
Fair enough.
How is that a thing? It's like, I love it because it means obviously like it's just literally up the road, and I can get what I need from there as well while we're in it. I'm just like, I'm sure when I was a kid, I was probably just like never taking me out of this place when I was in like Toys R Us. I was like, this is now my home. I live here now. But yeah, it's just made me so surprised.
You're doing all right. If he's not got to the point where he's like, I can have anything I want. They've not put a monetary value onto this, so literally anything I want. And he's just like, yeah, this is what is going to bring me joy. This little bag that has a Lego figure inside it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so good because I was showing him the roller coaster thing that you've got because they've got it in there. And I was like, Uncle Dan's got that. Should we go play with it? And he was just pointing to the Lego figs. And I was like,
it's got Lego figures on it.
You're not even bothered about the actual like things that I'm like, oh, you know what? I won't mind this. I'll have a look at this one.
You know what I can imagine he would love if he tried it though. The Mario ones.
Yeah,
because it's a big sort of child fist-sized figure, and then that's the future.
And he does love Mario.
Well, there you go. Then.
Like he watches playthroughs of Mario on the YouTube.
Did we talk about the sort of the way that the fact they're bringing out a Luigi Lego figure?
Yes.
Came out about how the Mario figure started crying for Luigi, a software update, and then it was suddenly going Luigi, and then 3 days later, hey, we're doing a Luigi set.
It's mad, isn't it? It's brilliant the way they can update it and change it all around and stuff. Like it is cool, but I'd still love a little proper minifig of Mario. Like I like the big chunky one; it looks cool with the computer embossed stuff. But I would like a proper little mini Mario and Yoshi and stuff.
I mean, you can get them just unofficial ones.
Yeah, like my Green Arrow.
Yeah, well, exactly that sort of thing.
That's good. Speaking of Green Arrow and DC Comics and stuff, just very quick sideline because I know we're talking about stuff. So Teen Titans Go are having a crossover with Looney Tunes in time for Space Jam.
Right. Okay. Well, it's Cartoon Network, isn't it? Anyway.
Yes.
So it's the same people.
Yeah. Have you seen that they've released a trailer for it today where I can't remember what they're called. You know, the little mini aliens. My mind's completely gone blank. But in Space Jam, when they take over the
the aliens.
Yeah, the actual aliens.
Okay. Yeah, I
The
can't remember. But
gang
anyway.
call themselves something. I can't remember what they're called. But they're with the Teen Titans, and they're like, so you're telling me you can take on our powers, and we have monster versions of us? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, well, what are you waiting for then? And they get the aliens to actually like be inhaled by them. And then you get the monster versions of them, and the trailer, to be fair, is brilliant. It's so funny because the one who does Cyborg turns like huge. It's like half alien monster, half like Cyborg. And then you get Starfire, who's like flying around and stuff, and just looks really, really funny. And Beast Boy, who's like a big, huge monster, and then he keeps swapping his head over to like a pig and stuff, and it looks really funny. And then the one who inhales Robin just is like, why haven't I got any powers? And you'll just start laughing. Like, because you inhaled Robin, and Robin's useless. And he's like, I'm not, I can dance. He just starts dancing. And it's like, it's just done so well. It's like, I do enjoy Teen Titans Go.
Yeah. I mean, I only ever saw the film, but the film's fab. Film's really good.
It's very good, and it's also going to hopefully tide me over. I've just heard some very sad news as well. So I know you're not really going to be that arsed about it in the slightest, but you know Seth Rogen was doing a Turtles reboot.
Yes.
And it's going to be coming out this year. Well, it's not.
Oh, I didn't know it was going to be that soon. I thought it was always a little while off, but it's 2013 now, right?
Yeah, 2013 now. It's he released on Twitter or Instagram, I think one of the two. Okay. It's like look like doodles from his homework and stuff, and then top right hand corner it's got the date. It says like Leonardo, August 11th, 23, on it, and it's like just little tidbits and pieces about all the stuff about the turtles and different types of mutagen and that sort of stuff. And some of the doodles look awesome as well. So it's a nice little announcement one. But I was like, I was looking forward to like having that. Genuinely thought it was going to be sometime soon, but
yeah, is it a film?
It is.
Is it okay? And it's an animated film?
Yes.
Okay.
So this one is it's a CG.
Yeah.
One. It's not going to be like because they're doing another one called Rise.
Okay.
And Rise is going straight to Netflix, but it's not. I don't think it's a follow-on from the original Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think it's just called Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this one's going to be going straight out into theaters and stuff like that. So it'll be like the TMNT film.
Yeah.
And that came out back in like 2013 or whatever it was, which was awesome as well, by the way. Had great use of Black Betty. So not the actual like bad guy or whatever.
No,
definitely no. There's not one like that in Turtles.
Fair enough. It's like Seth Rogen. I wonder whether he seems to have taken a step back from acting. I know he's had the odd film come out over the last few years, like that American Pickle film he did. But it's almost like he's happy now to do films that he really wants to do, instead of just taking the paycheck films, because now he's producing what he produced and I can't remember how else he was involved with Preacher, and with obviously Invincible, and he's involved with The Boys as well, isn't he?
He is, yes.
Yeah. So he just seems to be really into this production of like turning comics into TV shows, which, I mean, great, good on him.
Yeah, because to be fair, he's not done a bad one yet, so yeah.
No, I know, yeah, absolutely, it's crazy.
Because I was going to say, while we're talking about comics and stuff as well, have you seen that they've finally said that Spider-Man No Way Home is going to kick off the actual shared universe for Sony and the MCU?
Okay.
So apparently he can then start going in between the Marvel universe and also the Sony universe. Then
so they are saying that they are two completely separate things.
They are.
Okay,
so,
but the multiverse aspect of things is gonna bring all the Spider-Verse stuff, not necessarily in together, but give him the opportunity to move between them.
Yeah, because like I don't know if he's a like Sony movie executive, but it's like Sanford Panich, whatever his name is. Panich or something. I'm trying to remember because I haven't got the article in front of me at the minute, but I was reading it before. I know he's like a Sony executive dude. He was speaking to like Variety or Rolling Stone. Yeah, Variety it was. And he was saying that basically I think they asked him like, what's the plan for Spider-Man? And he was like, well, actually, there is a plan. We're going to connect our Sony universe to the MCU, and that's going to be with Spider-Man 3, so obviously No Way Home. And that's going to open up the door for him to basically just tangle with everyone now in part of a Marvel shared universe. I was like, oh, so it's nice now they're actually going to be able to do this. And I'm wondering now if that means that we're starting to get like the bad guys from the actual MCU coming into the Sony ones and stuff now.
I doubt it. I don't think it's going to go. I think it's going to be completely one way. Like there's no benefit to Marvel letting their any of their characters or their versions of these characters go over to the Sony films. It's purely that they wanted Spider-Man to be involved with everything. So I think it will just be, look, Spider-Man, he can get involved in the likes of Venom and Kraven the Hunter and
in fact, so
the Spider-Man film.
Kraven Hunter is apparently making the jump. So the guy who played him in the Age of Ultron, is that Aaron something?
Kick-ass Aaron Taylor-Johnson.
Yeah, he's playing Kraven. He's coming over to the to Sony now as well to carry on playing him. So it's like they might be using the odd one. Obviously, not any one of the big ones, but
that's just an actor. Just because that's an actor, the same actor that was in one of their films. I mean, I think that says the opposite because they never, apart from one incident with that where they cast the same actor to do two roles, they don't do that. If you are cast, I can't remember who it was, but there was some quote about there was some actor that.
Because that dude played Pietro, didn't he? That played one.
Oh, okay. Exactly. Yeah.
I was trying to remember it all off the.
Right.
Sorry. Now I'm actually going back into the articles, which I should have done. When we were in professional and all.
It's fair enough. No, we just we talk about our own. It doesn't have to be correct. It's fine.
It's all right. There's only 6 people that listen to us anyway, so we're doing good.
Exactly. But yeah, I've never, I can't remember who it was, but I think it was in an interview or something. There was some actor that people were asking, are you gonna, you could play this character. There's a room of you playing this. And he's like, no, look, I played this character in this film, and I was on the screen for about 2 minutes. But because of that, that is my character in the MCU. They'll call me back if they need me to play it again, but I can't play anyone else. The only time they seem to have forgotten that is with Gemma Chan, who is in Eternals. She is also in Captain Marvel. She's one of Captain Marvel's, when she is she's Marvel or whatever, when she's off in space and she's lost her memory and stuff, and she's getting her powers. She's one of her team members, but now she's also in Eternals, which people are like, oh, maybe Marvel have decided that they either don't care or maybe that there's some secret link going on there, and there's going to be a big twist. So maybe it's Mephisto. That's the go-to on Reddit, especially if anyone's starting to spout conspiracy theories about Marvel films. Someone's like, I bet they play Mephisto, because that's for the entire run of WandaVision. It was all like, maybe this person's Mephisto. No, look, they've got an M appeared in the curtain in the background when they were on screen, so he's definitely Mephisto. It's got to be him. No. But yeah, that's 2023 anyway. It's quite exciting. I'm enjoying seeing all these films now get fairly concrete dates, and there's so much coming all at once, which is kind of a good thing. Like one of the things I mentioned at the beginning, I'm really frustrated with. I've been going to cinema a fair bit because of the few films that have finally come out that I wanted to see. Went to see Raya the Last Dragon, which is brilliant. It's coming on Disney Plus next week
on Friday. Yeah, Friday comes out, doesn't it?
So good. so good. No singing, so it's one of those. It's a good, like, funny but also quite action packed and dramatic Disney film. It's almost like it's a Disney princess film, so it gets lumped in with Frozen and Tangled and Moana and stuff, which 2 out of 3 of them I really like anyway. I really rate Tangled and Moana especially. But it had a feel of Big Hero 6 in that action side of it. So, but I really recommend that. I'm glad I went to see it at the cinema. Even like we didn't realize it was coming out so soon on Disney Plus. And then I think a couple of days later we got home and realized, oh, hang on, it's going to be on TV soon. Oh well, it's fine. We got a nice day out at the cinema.
Yeah,
I keep doing that though. We've been watching. I got Shell to watch Firefly on Disney Plus, but Firefly got cancelled after like one season. There's like 14 episodes, and then they did a film called Serenity, which finished it all off. That film wasn't on any streaming platforms. Like, I think it was about a week ago on the Friday, I had a look and it wasn't anywhere. Out of everything I've got or anything I haven't even got, couldn't get it without paying for it. And was in CX on the next day, on the Saturday, and saw it for £1. I was like, right, great, there you go, we've got Serenity now. 2 days later, I put on Netflix, and it's like, news to Netflix, Serenity. Goodness sake, stop doing that. Make me waste £1. How dare you? Yeah, I'll talk about something else I spent £1 on soon, Reg. Actually, we'll get to that in a bit. But yeah,
is it a Greg Sestral?
Maybe, we'll see. Yeah, so we went to see that. Obviously, went to see Godzilla vs Kong. Went to see the Demon Slayer movie.
Oh, is it any good?
Well, yes, but only if you watch the series.
Right. Okay.
There's a lot of anime that will make the jump to the big screen. Like Attack on Titan, there's been 3 or 4 anime that they put on at the cinema, but they've all been just like 2-hour compilations of each season. So, there's not really any. I think they put like, oh, here's 30 seconds extra footage in of this happening, and it's pointless. So they're not really that important. Same goes for, My Hero Academia, which is another really popular one. That has had a film. But that film was just this little completely pointless side story, and apparently it has no bearing. It's not canon. It's not got any impact on the main storyline of the series. But so I started watching Demon Slayer about 2 months ago, and I've slowly been sort of, when I've been going to bed and I've got nothing else to do, I'll sit and watch an episode. And I was about 2/3 of the way through the season, and then suddenly it crept up on me that this film was coming out. I was like, great, need to really get through this now. And it's good. It's nowhere near as good as the hype was making out, and it's not like one of those situations that you end up getting affected by, where the hype kills something, doesn't it? Like that didn't happen. It's just not. It's not as good as something like Attack on Titan or Sword Art Online, which I'm sure if anyone who's a big anime fan would slate me for that, because they're the two that always got brought up as like not anime fans. Love these. But I don't care. They're so good. They're so much better than 99% of any other stuff that I've seen out there, and I've seen a fair bit. So anyway, and I still had about 8 episodes left, and then the day came round that I was going to go and watch it at the cinema. I was like, I need to finish this. I can't go and watch this film without finishing it off. And the only time they were showing the subbed versions was like one showing in the evening at like 7:30, 8:30 at night or something like that. All throughout the day, it's on about 4 times, and it's the dubbed version. And then this one show subs, like, right, we need to watch it. So I spent about 2.5 to 3 hours finishing off the rest of the season. Because I had other stuff to do, I even had to watch the dubbed version on Netflix, just so I could multitask and not have to sit there for 3 hours and read. Because I was like, because I think I was editing the pod or something. I had something really important I had to do, so I had to multitask. So I had to sit through dub. But the season finishes. It's like it's not even got this big dramatic ending. It's just like the Demon Slayer core. They do some training, and then they go, oh, we've got this train you need to go and investigate. These loads of people have died recently and we think it's demons. You should go and have a look. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll go and do that. And they go off to the train. Train pulls up and they're like, this is going to be a fun adventure. And they get on the train, credits. That's the end of the season. Then the film picks up and it's a replay of that one scene, and then they're on the train and it carries on. So it is such a like absolute, like the worst thing is when there's a big cliffhanger and you've got to wait like a year and a half for the next season to come around. But this is like you're gonna have to go to the cinema if you're gonna want to find out what the next thing is, because literally it is the next episode but a 2-hour version of it, which is so it cannot be watched as a standalone movie. Like you have to absolutely watch it as the next episode or the next season or whatever. And if you watched it and you like the series, it's a really great film. Like probably better than 90% of the series, to be honest. Like
okay.
you know how anime fights, like there'll be a fight that it'll just go on for like 2.5 episodes, and it's just this one fight, and it's all filled with all these sort of almost freeze frames where you're in the anime protagonist's head and he's going, but maybe if I do this, and what is he doing? Why is his hair glowing? This is strange. Oh no, he's going to hit me with this. You don't have to describe it all, but these things go on for ages. It's like that. There's 2 battles in it that just go on for probably about 70% of the film. And it's just really drawn out. It's really, really like exciting. It's done really well. Right when you think it's over, he beats the big demon that's stopping everything from happening on it and killing people on the train. And you're like, oh great, there we go. That's been about an hour and a half. That's probably about right. And then they suddenly get off the train and like, that was hard going. And then this other super mega, like the 4th most powerful demon in the world turns up. And then there's another half-hour massive fight. So it was really quite good and exciting. But like I say, unfortunately, if you've not watched any of the series, you need to. But you don't have to put it with Crunchyroll and all their adverts because it is on Netflix. Which is good.
Yeah, I was going to say it's one I keep on seeing loads of people. Like I know I've got so many to get through, but there's one that I do keep on hearing a lot about. That I'm like,
I'm not convinced. Like I'll be honest, I thought, right, okay, there's not that many on Netflix that I want to get into, but let's give that a go. I've heard the film's supposed to be really good, so if I can go through the series, I can get to the film. I'm not convinced you would love it, to be honest. I would much rather you spent your time getting through Attack on Titan, because they're just so they're saying.
And I'm also like halfway through that, so it won't be as bad to get to get back up to speed on it.
Fair enough, exactly. Yeah. What was my point? Oh yeah, so cinemas. So that frustrated me anyway, because they were only showing it subbed like once a day, whereas you could watch it dubbed tons, like 3 or 4 times, pretty much at every cinema. I'm talking every cinema that was local to us. When we wanted to go and watch Raya and the Last Dragon, only one cinema was showing it out of like the 4 or 5 that I could get to. So it seems really weird, like what cinemas are showing. And part of me, I think certain brands of cinema have like decided to boycott certain films because of like Disney going right, it's going on streaming, and they're deciding to lose money. And what else was it? Yeah, I want to go and see Mortal Kombat, but for some, it's almost like cinemas feel that because it's an 18 movie, it can only be shown at like 8:30, 9:30 at night. When I just like I spend my evenings with my other half. I want to go in the day when she's working. I want to go and watch a film at like 2:00 in the afternoon or something like that. And I can't, because they're only showing it there. Whereas they'll show Peter Rabbit like 700 times in a day.
Yeah.
So I just wish cinemas would understand that people want to go and watch these films at any time of day. Plus, we're not interested anymore in watching films that came out 30 years ago at the cinema. That was a really nice little sort of fun thing we could do back in October, November. Back when there were no films, it was like, oh yeah, it's nice, let's go and watch Back to the Future. Or I went to see Scott Pilgrim, and that was amazing to be able to go and watch that at the cinema again. Yeah, the cinemas are still doing that. They've got all these films that they've decided, like a brand new film, like Mortal Kombat, which has, had pretty good reviews to the point where I think if it was a proper release, if it was normal times, that probably would have done really well. Yeah, they're showing it once in a day, but they're happy to have 3 showings of Fellowship of the Ring. I don't understand.
No.
But yes, it annoys me. Don't know why.
Yeah. I was while we were talking about films that are coming out and films that are out and whatnot, I didn't realise that Ubisoft have done a film version of Werewolves Within. So I don't know if you've heard of Werewolves Within.
No, it doesn't ring a bell.
So it's a VR game.
Okay.
Where you sit around a campfire. And you can ask questions and you gauge people's reactions and stuff. And one of the people in that group is a werewolf.
Okay.
And you've got to figure out which one it is. Apparently, it's based on like a board game or something.
Okay.
Possibly. But yeah, so Ubisoft did a game version of it, and now obviously they've got the Ubisoft Studios, and there's a trailer for it. And I didn't realise that's what it was. I just heard the scene on, I think it was Kotaku. They had the trailer for it going new werewolf movie, campy schlock werewolf movie. I can't remember what the tagline was, but maybe go, ooh, I'll give that a watch. And I watched it. I was like, you know what, that doesn't seem that bad. And I was like, by Ubisoft. It's like Werewolves Within. Werewolves, where do I know that? And I was like, oh shit, yeah, that was the VR game. I was like, how weird. Of all the games to choose that you go with. I know they're doing the Division and they're doing Ghost Recon and stuff, but
it sounds like it needs to be a game, because the whole point is the fun of you asking the questions and working out who it is. So it just seems like an odd choice to turn into a film.
So this one is basically there's a new sheriff that comes to town. And then all of a sudden there's a murder, and they find it underneath the porch of someone who's like, my God, looks like he's been attacked by a wolf. And the guy's like, there's no wolves around here. And then something else happens, and they figure out it's a werewolf that's there. And then they're trying to figure out who the werewolf is among all of them. It's not supposed to be a serious horror. It's genuinely a comedy horror. But it looks really good. It doesn't look anywhere near as confusing as the fucking new Edgar Wright trailer.
No,
his movie looks crazy. That Last Night in Soho or something.
Yeah. I mean, if he's been going on about this for a long time. I follow him on Instagram and Twitter, and he obviously had this completely in the can about a year ago, but he's not been able to release anything from it because they've had no sort of release date. So I'd seen an awful lot about it, lots of stuff on set, and he'd never really given away much about what it's all about. And the trailer kind of still doesn't, other than it almost looks like a sort of a thriller / horror movie about someone going back in time.
Yeah.
It looks like Heartbeat. If Heartbeat was not Heartbeat, Good Night Sweetheart.
Good Night
Sweetheart, the horror film. Because it looks like this person goes into a cinema or something like that, and then suddenly they're back in the 1950s, and then clearly something goes wrong. I don't know. That's what it looks like to me. That's my takeaway from it. I don't know.
And the worst thing is now I can't get the Heartbeat theme tune out of my head. God damn it. The heartbeat.
Yeah.
Why do you miss when my baby kisses me?
We didn't need a rendition of it, but thanks.
We did, because now we can all have it in our heads, Dan. Have you been to watch Cruella yet?
No, I'm not going to bother. I'll wait. Seeing how it seems like Disney Plus put the stuff on for premium rental or whatever, and then a month and a half, 2 months later go, okay, now here it is for everyone. I think I'll just wait.
It's supposed to be really good, though. I've not heard
many
people say it's
just not my thing, don't know. I never really liked. I'm sure it's nothing like any of the Dalmatian series, but I've just never really liked those films. So it doesn't interest me enough to drag me to the cinema. But I don't know.
Fair enough. I was going to say, I've just seen so many reviews of people going like, "This is brilliant." I'm like, yeah, like you, I've got no interest in it, but I know at some point when it comes on Disney Plus, we will watch it.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's my plan. Like I say, it definitely is the sort of thing that, like, you know what, if it's on streaming, let me watch it. It's like, you know, it's the same with that the Zack Snyder zombie thing, Army of the Dead. I was just like, yeah, it's on Netflix, it's free. Let's watch. But I probably wouldn't have gone to the cinema to see it. And have you heard about all the weird little conspiracy theories about that film now? Well, not necessarily conspiracy theories, but to the point where there's a moment in the film where they're breaking into this vault in this Las Vegas casino, and there's these dead bodies, that decomposed bodies, and they've got guns and stuff, and they're wearing similar clothes to a couple of the people on the crew. And they're like, look at those guys. What do you think happened to them? I bet they're, they look like us. I bet that is us in one of the previous time loops. That, you know, maybe every time that we've done this, we've got a bit further, and that was as far as we got last time. We died right by the door, but this time we're going to get in. And it's just this little throwaway joke. But the internet has taken all of that and gone, no, that is what's happened. That is it. And there's all these other little clues they seem to have, you know, it's the WandaVision Mephisto thing that people have decided this is definitely the case, and they're just clutching at absolute straws to prove to themselves that it's true.
Oh, crazy. I think it's though. That's it with the internet, isn't it? Let's just literally dangle a tiny bit of thread, and they'll literally go crazy and make up their own string theories.
Yeah, but there could be so much better things they could be talking about than a sort of subpar zombie film. It's just, yeah, wasn't great. So
what else?
More I think about
wasn't great.
Okay.
So we just going off a bit of again on a mini tangent. So a few, I can't remember if it was this season or the last season of the Nerd OD podcast. I was talking about Breeders, the Martin Freeman show that was on Sky.
I don't remember ever talking about it, but go on.
Right, season 1 of Breeders was fantastic.
Yeah.
Again, so it's I don't know if it's just because we were a new parent at the time, so just having like a nice refreshing take on, like, Martin Freeman plays a dad who basically just has massive anger issues, but he's got no problem whatsoever in just telling his kids to, like, just shut them up.
Okay.
So, like, they'll be screaming and he'll just, like, just slam into the room. He's like, "What the are you two shouting about? Just shut up. How many times have I told you?" And I'm like, you know what? It's quite nice to hear that, because sometimes you think it just like, "Oh, please just shut up," but you never say it. So you're just like, "Yeah, please think it." You've got no problem about it, but it's really funny, and he helped, like, write it and produce it, I think.
Right.
And it's a great show. Season 1's brilliant, and then we realised, because we've been looking for new things to watch now that we've, like, caught back up on everything, we're like, right, what do we watch now? And we literally found season 2 had been on. I was like, wow, that just literally came on and finished without a trace. So we binge watched that over, like, the space of 2 nights, I think it was. And it was, season 2 is just nowhere near as good as season 1. It's as though, like, all the good ideas and all the funny parts of season 1, you're like, right, okay, we spent it, but we've still got loads of life left in the characters and we need to do stuff with it.
Right.
And they were just like, yeah, so what do we do then? And the annoying thing is, they left season 2 on such a huge, like, not a cliffhanger, but on a, well, what's going to happen then? Like, you know there's going to be a season 3, but, like, can we really be that arse with it? Because I don't think any of us paid much attention to the entire season 2, to be fair. It was just such a disappointment, because I was so looking forward to just jumping back into it again and having that familiar story and whatnot going through.
Do you think it was anything to do with, you know, you're just over the whole child thing now, in a way?
I think it's just it's genuinely, like, I think season 1 had a point, and I think season 2 had one one core thing it was going for. So everything was based around his relationship with like the oldest son.
Okay.
In this one, and like how he was a bit of like a loner, and he didn't have like any mates or anything like that. And you're like, oh, what's up with him? Like, we need to know what's going on with him. And then it focuses around that like 90% of the time, instead of just like the family stuff and like his work stuff, which was always quite entertaining and whatnot. So there was, I don't know, there just seemed to be a big pull towards that. So I don't know if he's had something in his private life where he's like, yeah, I can base this around that, and I'll make this season about that, so I can get it out that way. But didn't seem to be anywhere near as entertaining as like season 1, which was a bit of a Debbie Downer.
Oh,
I'll say. And what was the other thing? Oh, I think last week I mentioned we were watching that Mayor of Easttown.
yeah. So that's finished now, hasn't it?
Yeah. So we watched that, finished yesterday on Sky. It was on at 3:00 in the morning. And we're like, yeah, we're not going to watch it then, but we'll watch it like when Oliver goes to bed.
Yeah. Did you stream it?
No, we watched it on Sky Atlantic.
Okay, because people who streamed it in the States, HBO Max went down 10 minutes into when it started streaming.
Oh, no way.
So apparently everyone was very, very, very angry. Apparently it's been a really big hit over in the States. I've not heard much over here about it, but
right, okay. Well, I was going to say that part of my point maybe slightly gone there. I thought it was a with Sky Originals.
Yeah, well, it's
they do.
A Sky and HBO. It's they have a lot
because we watched. I can't remember what the last thing, what that show was called. The one with Hugh Grant in. Hang on, give me 1 second. Hugh Grant, because the Undoing, yeah, with him and Nicole Kidman in it. We watched that because we seen it on Gogglebox and we're like, oh, that looks like it's going to be really entertaining, quite good. And it wasn't great. It was all right. I know it's based on a book, so I know it's going to be, I can't say Sky Original has no ideas, but this plays out like near enough very similar way. The last episode of it, I was like, hang on a minute. He mentioned one thing, and I was like, I know exactly what's going to happen here. And I was like, because it happened in the last Sky Original show we watched, and it literally was just like, I can't believe this has happened. And I was like, yeah, that's literally exactly what happened in the. So like the ending is basically the same as the Undoing sort of ending. But you're probably best off. Should have done really a spoiler alert for that. I tried not to say what it was, but then if people have heard of or seen The Undoing, then they know exactly what the ending is for Mary.
If they're halfway through it, and they'll understand. Because I have no idea what any of that meant. So I'm
right. Okay, cool. But it was, you know what? It was actually, that was surprisingly all right. It wasn't as great as what I was hoping, but it was a good enough watch to pass the time. The evenings, because now we're like, right, okay, we know the shows to watch, we know the stuff we've got to get through, but it's just trying to remember what it is we want to watch, because it's very rare we get time.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, we need to watch now. So Oliver went to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock now. I had quickly had tea and then I'm putting with you, and I'm like, right, we've got half an hour now before we get to bed. So there's no point in watching like an hour long show down. So we're like, what do we do for like half an hour? To do it before you think, yeah, let's go to bed or whatnot. So it's the odd nights where like we're not podding with you, then we'll have like an hour or an hour and a half. So we're like, oh, let's watch an episode of something. And then we spend that long going, well, what do we want to watch? Like, we're running out of time now. Let's just choose something to watch. Like, let's just stick on anything. I'm like, right, okay, so we'll go back to like the old stuff. So I need to remember and like create a little like watch list, because I know there's a few shows like The Unforgiven's supposed to be really good, and The Innocent's supposed to be good.
I mean, literally, that is what you do on streaming services. You make a watch list. I don't know why this suddenly sounds like a novel idea.
To be fair, you know what? We pay for the streaming services and never use them.
All right, okay.
Like we just watch and download stuff off Sky. I can't remember the last thing we watched on Netflix.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, you just have stuff. You have it. Yeah, your Sky Plus, either recording or downloading the Okay, makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, like we've got all the box sets and like for all the shows and series and that sort of stuff. And occasionally, if we're ever really low on the ideas of things, that's when we'll go, oh, tell you what, then let's hit Netflix. But
even then, everything that is set to download or whatever or record on your Skybox is something that you are interested in watching, surely.
Yeah, you want to see what we've now got. I think on the last count we worked out, we've got this many 52 films.
Okay.
On the Skybox, and I think the only shows we've got now are like Oliver's shows.
Right.
On there, like we've literally got that, and when you really can't be asked concentrating on a film after trying to put a non-wanting to sleep 2-year-old to bed. You're just like, you know what, we just need something to be like, put Cabbage Telly on, and we'll just sit there and be like a bit.
But you need to do the Marie Kondo about it. You need to go through and be like, does this show / film spark joy?
Yeah.
If not, delete it. Just get rid of it. Very therapeutic, Reg. When I got rid of loads of DVDs, I was like, am I ever going to watch this again? No, that can go. Am I ever going to? And like, if I really like something, even if I'm not sure I'm going to watch it, I'm like, I want to have this. I want to own this item. So I'm going to keep this DVD, and everything else I just went, get rid. And yeah, it was really good therapeutic. Do that with your Sky Plus box, Reg.
I was to say, because we don't own, I think I own 3 DVDs now.
Fair enough.
And they are the Kevin Smith one, the Evening With.
Yeah.
That I'm in. I think it's like Braveheart, and I think Scott Pilgrim, and then I've got the same with the Blu-rays. I think I've got about 8 Blu-rays, and the rest are all the Disney Blu-rays that we started collecting.
Yeah. I wasn't distinguishing Blu-rays and DVDs. I just called them DVDs.
Oh yeah, sorry, but I was to say we do that. But with the Skybox, the annoying thing with the Sky Q as opposed to the Sky Plus, you could literally select multiple. So if you had like 8 episodes of Paw Patrol recorded, you could literally just go delete, and it'd be like, do you want to delete all Paw Patrol or just this episode of Paw Patrol? And you'd be like, oh, just this episode, or yes, please get rid. So like now I've got 356 episodes of Paw Patrol, because it doesn't distinguish, oh, this is an old one, don't record it again. It's just like, oh, you fucking want that recording again? I'm like, no, I don't.
Brilliant.
Don't record the same one again. So you can't group it and delete. You literally have to singularly delete every episode. So, and I just, when you look at it, you're like, I can't do this. Like, I can't. So our thing is now just full up of all of that. And then we're getting rid of Sky Movies. This month it's like going, because we never use it anymore. It was like novel when we first got it. We're like, oh yeah, we'll watch a film every night and this will be brilliant. And we did it for like a few months and it was lovely. And then stuff we wanted to watch was just building up. I'm like, you know what, let's stop watching movies and watch the stuff that we like, season 3 or whatever it was, or season 2 or whatever, and just get back onto them and we'll start watching movies again. And then we just never did. So we've got like a load of films, but if we cancel Sky Movies, but I don't know if these movies are going to go.
They would still be there,
the subscription
taking up space. You just wouldn't be able to watch them.
Yeah. So now they've got the thing of, we've got like 6 days to watch all the films, which isn't going to happen. So like, we might as well just delete all the films.
We'll just do that, and you can have my Now TV login, because that's all I have. I just have the movies, and it's literally everything that Sky Movies has.
Oh, right, okay. Sound. I appreciate that.
Makes life a bit easier, I'd imagine. But I did the same with that. Like, I got it so I could watch Justice League, and I literally initially I probably added about 30 films to the planner, to the wish list or whatever. I was like, yeah, I'll watch it at some point. And I think over the course of a couple of weeks, I probably did go through about 9 or 10 films, and then I slowed down, and now I only go on it every now and again just to look, right, is there anything good going on? All right, okay, that was this month's premiere. All right, I might watch that, and I'll watch a couple of films and move on. But yeah, you always get that sudden rush of like, wow, look at all this stuff. Oh, that film, that film. Can I watch this? Can I watch that? But
yeah. And so that's the thing. And now we'd literally sit there. I was like, I only got Amazon Prime, so I should watch Handmaid's Tale. the third season of it, and yeah, we haven't even started that yet. She's like, yeah, we'll wait for Oliver to go down, and then we're like, oh, we need to watch this first. Like, the nightly routine of like watch Emmerdale, have tea, do that, and then when I'm podding with you, because I'm literally sitting about 3 feet away from it, she can't concentrate on it because I'm talking and I don't have a volume control.
Okay, you have other rooms in the house though, right? Oh wait, you have a baby that's asleep in one of them.
Yeah, and the bedroom
Go in your
next
kitchen.
to that. So yeah, it's a bit annoying. So I'm like, right, set times with that, and I'm one of those people. When she watches shows, I try my best not to get involved if it's like 2 or 3 in, and because I know that I'm like, you know what, I don't want to be that person going, so what's this? What's that? What's this? So just be like, you know what, you do what you need to watch, and I'll just sit there and like I'll play on the laptop. It'll give me a good excuse to start playing games again, or whatnot. And you do that. But she did it with Handmaid's Tale, and I think I was playing Divinity at the time, and then it was one of those I couldn't help myself. I was like, this looks really good. So who's this then? And she was like, in a minute. And we start watching it. She's like, right, so this is what's going on with this one. And then I would like the next night be podding with you and whatnot. We'd be podding and it'll be on. I'd be like trying to watch it, get a brief idea. I'm like, holy shit, they just hung with that person. Like, remind myself to ask Ash what that was about the minute we finished podding. I'm like living vicariously through tidbits of it. I'm like, this looks really good, but I can't get in on it. So I'm like, right. So I'm like, if you're going to watch it, just, watch it, but I'm here if you want to. But then I'm also at the same note of, like I said, playing Divinity 2, because I've been chatting to Mike saying, you know what, Cyberpunk's got something like a 28 gig update for the laptop. And I was like, I don't know if I want to play it. I don't know if I can be arsed waiting that long for it to be updated again. Like, I haven't touched it since January. Like, I can't even remember now what the actual point of the game is. It's hit that long and it's that memorable. That I was like, I don't know what to do. I thought I really want to play on something, just to get my mind off work and stuff. To like on dinner, just literally just blank out for like half hour or so and just switch off and just play on something. He's like, well, play on the Switch. And I was like, well, no, because we're playing Mario, and that's the only thing really that we're playing with on the Switch. And he's like, well, go back to Divinity and play that. You never finished it. And I was like, that's a good point. I never did that. So put the Switch on, and I was like, literally looked at my save file for Divinity, and I was like, last played in 2019.
Yeah, I can imagine this is one of those games that if you haven't gone back to it.
I have no idea how it plays. I have no idea where I was. I have no idea who this character is. And I was looking at it, I was like, well, there's only one thing to do then. Start again. So I started again. And the minute I wiped over the old save file with the new one, I was like, oh, this is that person. I remember now. Oh, shit, I'm up to that. Oh, my God, yes, of course. And I'm like, oh, I've wiped over the old file with the new one now. Oh, well. So I started done complete new race, new characters.
Right.
Did everything. Chose different party members, and I played it wildly different. And so far, it's such a different game. It's crazy the amount of quests and places I've seen.
Yeah.
That I never even knew existed in the first playthrough is phenomenal. Considering I put in just over 100 odd hours in it, and so far it's wildly different. It's crazy, how diverse and just how expansive this world is, and the lore and stuff behind it. It's such a good game. It's such an underrated gem. Because I was going to get that. I got an email through because I've been following that Celesta, which is like a D&D game.
Okay.
But apparently it is literally 5e, the one that we play.
Right.
Apparently it's the game, and everyone's saying how amazing it is for that. But when I watched the gameplay footage, I was like, that looks like the sort of game I want to play. That's what I wanted, the laptop to play that sort of stuff and do that sort of game with. So I was like, I'll get onto that. And then I noticed on Steam that Divinity 2 is only £7 on Steam, and I'm like, well, Divinity 2 is crossplay. Oh, do I get that then? And I'm like, so I've been toying with the idea of which one to get, 'cause I've been really dying to play as Celeste, but now I've got stuck back into Divinity 2. I'm like, yeah, like I really, really, really want to play this so much. And that's all I've been thinking about. And I was chatting to Mike about it, saying, this is the style I'm playing through now. And he's like, oh, so did you do this? And I'm like, nope, didn't even realise that's a thing. So like, if I go back and do the first part again differently,
Okay.
I'd go off on a completely different path for like the third way through.
Fair enough.
And it's so good. But the first time around, I was like a really goody two shoes, and like just stuck to the rules of everything. In this playthrough, I accidentally kill someone. Like in the choice, just like drew my weapon and started a fight, and I was like, oh, I didn't want to do that. Oh well, I'll have to kill them now. And then if you go back to the starting area in my save file, there's literally no one there. It went from accidentally just killing one bad guy into murdering everything and anything that moved in that entire town. So just like there are over 200 people rinsing around in that town that are now just corpses. There's just like nothing's there anymore. Everything's been looted and sold, and so different. And it's just it's so good. But the one thing that made me chuckle was there's one person that was like, he's a weird, very creepy scientist dude who, remember in the first playthrough, he asks for the leg of this dead person, because he's like, when you walk into the room, he's like, ooh, I can smell someone. Is that a tuna or a tusa? And I'm like, oh yeah, I've got her leg in my bag. Because you can randomly, if you want to pick it up, you can pick it up when you loot like the dead body.
Okay.
You get the choice of, do you want to pass it him, or do you want to be like, no? And if you select no, you can literally fight him and you kill him and you can free some people and do some stuff. Or I was like, I wonder what happens if I give it to him this time around, and then he just runs off and starts sniffing it. I was like, that's really weird. And instead of instigating a fight, which I know is a really, really difficult fight, because he just brings out like all these soulless like keepers, they're like those zombie type characters that he's been experimented on. He brings like a shed ton of these out, and I'm like, last time it took me so long to do this fight. It about like a good 45 minutes to an hour, and it was like pure nail biting. Like, I don't think I'm going to make it, or I might make it. I was like, what I am going to do is I'm going to use a teleport spell, and I'm going to stick him in the Iron Maiden, and then maybe I can do this and do that and do that, and literally you can teleport him out of the room, out of the battle, and then just go in and easily kill all these zombies before they start getting into this life mode. And it makes the fight so much quicker and easier, and it's not cheating because it's just an option they give you to do.
Right,
like you can do so much in it. Like if you know you're going to get in a like just. The whole point of it is you're called a sorcerer, and apparently you can use magic, and they don't like that. There's like normal humans, they hate the fact that people can use magic, so they put collars on them and send them to this like prison island, because they reckon if you use magic too much, like these evil spirits and like weird things called the void walkers or void kraken come in, and they look like big squidgy aliens, and type slug type things, and then big huge demons. Like literally the range is so diverse of the different bad guys you come across. These all come out and will take over the world. Void walking, that's what they're called, void walking. They just want to take over our existence. So your whole point is you're off on a mission to basically get rid of these void walking and become god woken, which will like rule the world and stuff and save humanity. But this void walking is supposed to come at you, and it's supposed to be like a really difficult fight that you're going to have, but it takes its turn right from the beginning to run up to you, so it gets like 3 goes, and then it's coming, it will attack you, and you'll have a really strong fight. And I was like, I wonder if I can use the teleport spell on that. Oh, you can. So what I was doing was just spending one go, literally just teleporting him back to his start point, and then taking on everyone else and doing long range attacks, and then teleporting him back again, and just cheesing it through that way this time instead of having like a really difficult fight. And it was brilliant. It was so much easier to do it. And I was like, I feel like I'm cheating, but I'm really not. It's like I found the easy mode for the game without turning the difficulty down to easy.
Right. Well, it sounds like the sort of game that will maybe take that and turn it around on you and sort of bite you in the backside at some point, though.
Oh,
like they know
massively.
you can do that. So at some point, someone's going to be like, I've heard you in this teleport spell. And then, who knows?
Yeah, I know for a fact that it's not going to end well for me at any given point. And I've just accidentally made a mistake. Well, the one nice thing is you've got a party of like up to 3 people you can bring in as well as yourself. So you've got like 4 dudes, but you can play it as a lone wolf. And if you choose lone wolf pack, you get like stronger stats. You get a boost to basically help you out, buff you up, because you know you're not going to be as strong as what you are if you had the full party. And I accidentally made the mistake of physically killing everyone else that's not my party members.
Right.
So now if they do die, I'm going to have to lone wolf it because the other guys have now no longer a choice. They're now dead. I can't ever go back and be like, hey, do you fancy joining my party? Because I've killed them. It was their fault for being in the starting area. If they weren't in the starting area, they were literally just in the next village. They would have been fine. But because they made the mistake of standing there going, hey, choose me to be in your party. I'm like, no, you've got to die now. Sorry.
Well, speaking of RPGs, I was going to talk all about me finishing Final Fantasy Remake and starting to play Final Fantasy OG, but we're out of time, so I have to leave that till next week.
Wait. No, it's all right. We've got time.
No, it's all right. We'll do it next week. So, anyway, no, I've got a lot more to talk about with it, and I'm sure I will have more next week, so we'll leave it till then. So, anywho, thank you once again for listening, and and this Friday does officially see the launch / relaunch of Nerdo D&D, which is becoming Roll in One, which is now our general tabletop gaming podcast.
For the trailer or the intro for Roll in One,
okay.
Could you use your awesome editing skills on my hole in one video that I got from mini golf and just change the ball into a dice?
Okay, I'll have a think about it.
I'm just saying I got a hole in one, guys.
Let's see. Where's the proof?
In your private collection now. You fucking turned it private, you scumbag. So basically, we went to Florida back in 2012, and we went to Pirates Cove.
Got a hole in one, and he's still going on about it to this day.
I got a hole in one, and it's an incredible hole in one. And it was on YouTube. Dan put it up as a highlight clip. It's available on DVD, so I've got it, and it's incredible to watch repeatedly. But for me to rub it in people's faces, I used to go on YouTube and grab the link, and I went to do it with the new guy in work who claims he's a golf master, and I was like, yeah, your handicap might be this, but can you do this? I was like, oh no, it's not on YouTube anymore. So I was like, Dan, where the fuck's my video? And he was like, oh, it's private. I'm like, can you make it unprivate, please? I need to show off. So, yeah.
Well, it's in the full video. You just have to
indeed
sit through 25 minutes of other stuff, like you singing karaoke and the likes.
Yeah, if you ignore that bit, then, the rest of the video is ace.
Exactly.
I like that. And, yeah, so there we go, guys. Roll in one. If you do have any ideas for any tabletop games or any games that you think, this would be fun to listen to, 100% fire them off in the comments, and we will undoubtedly get
We're kicking off with a playthrough of Alien RPG, which has been quite a lot of fun because it's stuff that I think we're more familiar with the world of Alien than we are with a lot of the D&D stuff. So we very much got into it and got into character, I think. I think a lot more because of that.
Definitely got into character a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So
anyway, have a listen. It's out every other Friday. So, right. And with that, I've been Dan.
I've been Reg.
See you next time.
Doodles.
Bye.